I would now like to invite Ms. Meghana Muralidharan, interior designer and stylist, content and design writer from Qatar.
Every day we begin to look through the eyes of others to find out and experience what the world is like for them. It is also the day we grow bigger than our differences. A very warm welcome, dignitaries, esteemed guests, teachers, and all my dear friends. I feel immensely privileged and delighted to be a part of this program. I thank SRM as well as my department, School of Architecture and Interior Design, for giving me this great honor. Today, the topic we are going to discuss is about the effect of COVID on design and architecture. It is a research-based project that I did during the mentorship for Think Design. A small introduction about myself. I'm Meghana Muralidharan. I graduated from SRM in 2019. I work as an interior designer and content writer for a startup company called 974 Kids and Wellness based in Doha, Qatar. These are some of my writing projects that I had worked. This is my first article that I published in Society magazine in Gulf Times. It's based again in Doha, Qatar. So, Do You Like Orange has a great part for me because I didn't do much of hard work, but later I thought like I could have improved on this. But I had got a lot of comments and encouragement after I did this project. That's when I thought, okay, I should take up writing in my career. Exploring through design and its aspects has given me a great influence because they really reinforced me on how I think, on how users think about design and various aspects on it. So this was one which was been published, and this was another it was published in 2019. So I did give after I wrote about how do you like orange, later I did give a small write-up about the color trends for 2019, because it is really important that we always keep up the trend, and so that people will have an idea about what is the current trend, or if they want a color change through this trend, they will get to know how they can play about for their interior if they want a color change for their walls or maybe some decor. So these trends can actually have a great influence for the audience. Right. So this is my latest article, Let's Nurture Creativity Through Design. It's based on kids' interiors. So I recently did a project for kids Montessori and products. So that's when I thought, why not I write about kids' interiors. So this was the one which I did about. Yeah, right. So getting back to our topic, effect of COVID on design and architecture. It's COVID we have been going through, we are going on and surviving through this situation. So we all know that we have either been fully or partially locked up during this pandemic. We all at one point we all wanted some kind of social, let it be even through some different space rather than a house. It was like we were having a social life inside our own spaces that actually created a chaos between our spaces. Even closed public spaces were currently viewed only as a potential threat in the beginning. The life around them has changed so much. The mood, the usage, and even the space has been forced to change. People actually were very scared at the beginning to move around, to move around in the public spaces because we didn't know how things would affect them. So the closed public spaces when we talk about are some, especially the entertainment services, the hotels, and our public, the public where the public viewed more, where the banks, some workshops, service centers, schools, and when it comes to the other side, let it be the transportation areas. When it goes for shopping, we have a lot of supermarkets, everything, where some spaces that we all, it's commonly friendly space which we all use every day or the other. In all these closed spaces, very few are used and accessed as public spaces in the lockdown, and as changes in the space and usage one can study. Therefore, here we focus on the places frequently people used during the time of COVID. Right. Let's see how designing of closed public spaces change with the change in the scenario and the times during and post COVID-19. How will the usage of these spaces change and how will it change the spatial needs? How will the effect of COVID on building materials, economy, and other external factors contribute to this space design? Let's see. When we talk about the spatial design, we have to actually know the attitude towards people, how people reacted during this situation. So accordingly, we had to make the change of design in different from each public spaces. There have been a lot of changes, let's say, and even new technologies have come up. So spacing and technology, everywhere it was a challenge when it comes to the design aspects. And we have to see how the disabled people, how it also influenced them, as well as considering the interactions between people, and similarly how other elements in those spaces, how those influenced people around them, and also certain observational methods where the footfall and the interaction of the space, clarity in the procedures within a space, ventilation and safety of the space, means of hygiene, sanitations, incidents that compromises safety were some of the challenges during this pandemic. So when we conducted some surveys, each person had their own view. Let it be when we had a talk or an interview between people, let's say a small owned shop, a person, he had to shut down his own store because he wouldn't be economically stable to proceed with online shopping, or maybe he wouldn't have that much people to help him for his delivery, or he wouldn't have, or maybe he would have a certain set of customers which went to his shop. Those were one set of people. Then another set we have where they are trying to shift it online. So till he finds a solution for the online, he starts delivering himself. Similarly, when it goes to a big shop, they have been handled by the technology, so it was very easier for them because they have their own budget. They would have a retail big chain, so they'll be adapting through those ways. Right. So each person who visits a public space had their own problem. Let's say, let's an engineer, he works near the house, so it was easier for him to travel because he started going by walking. Let's say when a person who works far away, so there he had a challenges. He would meet a lot of people. So is it safe for him to travel? Again, considering the public spaces, will people all be doing up or showing up the social distancing? How useful, or how can he just travel to those public spaces with will they be providing the certain facilities so that they will not be feared of those of the pandemic. And right, so each person had their own thread of using the public spaces. It can be through travel, or maybe you travel from certain states, or you travel abroad, or maybe even for groceries shopping. In the beginning, we had a certain challenges to use the public transportation. So those each person had their own view on it. Let's see. Some these were some of the observation done. Some countries earlier they were exposed to H1 and N1. They had installed better public safety architecture in these spaces. So they actually knew how to handle these when these such pandemics occur. They knew how to handle because they had their own bars for the counters, or when it comes for shopping, so that this panic buying could be avoided. So when sudden situation had come up, it was seen that these spaces meant for maximum time and money spending had to be adapted to new needs. Where we have customer buying, you can see a lot of changes has been come up. Right, we can see that a lot observations could be done, and a lot of research work was been done during I had done during this pandemic. How safe was it for us to travel? Can we travel? Can we travel through the public transport? Is it travel, or is it safe to go alone, or can the family go? Those so many questions had come up. Right. Even when we take up a supermarket, reconstructing essential and most used item to the front store. Earlier, a window exhibit was made for the people to pick up and choose. Now, provision of washing hands right in the middle of the door, and there was restricted entry because only certain people were allowed for us to go to the certain store. Because when it's a small supermarket, we see that we have a restricted space, so only few people are allowed to go. Right. Another thing is that each group of people had their own perspective towards things. Certain people where they started getting health conscious when they are at home. They start experimenting new things. How more health conscious can they get, because they've been sitting at home. So obviously we all were really worried about the health, because there was no exercise. We couldn't go to the parks, no gym, nothing. But in the other hand, there were people that they were forced to go out because maybe lack of knowledge they get. It depends on the community. But still there were people trying to create awareness among them. Right. Even let it be when we had to go to the bank, we see that social distancing has been done, and we could see that how the counters has been rearranged now. Not only the banks, let it be from supermarkets, and on most of the public spaces, they have been restricted to certain people. And even the counters, as we can see that the counter, they have been enclosed. Right. So each people, they started adapting their own ways. Let it be when we go to a ration shop, we see that people have been adapting through the means of tunnel, where they give out their food. Right. Shopping shifted from family leisure to singular chore. The environment is a lot more hostile and panic struck. People would spend less time here and money here. Online shopping and payment methods increase. This also applies for education and entertainment, so on. Interpersonal relationship and time has reduced in the spaces. The loyalty would depend on service and experience. More technology had come up, so people started adapting those means. Experiences cannot be bought online. So those were a biggest challenge, where people stopped visiting the restaurants, cafes, and a lot of public places. And we could see that a lot of measures had come up, from sanitizing, from temperature checkup. All medical shops, banks, airports all had their own counters, right? And we could see that when we go to a store, when people move within a space, the allotment of the space per person gets compromised, especially at the high footwall areas, often invading the personal space too, right? We could see that a lot of new technology and materials had come up, especially the thermal scanners, self sanitizing, the UV sterilizers, air cooling that does not circulate infected air, and so on. When we take up some major observation, we see that humans are social animals and people will be back to malls everywhere in at one certain time. So we see that we construct or design the space accordingly, because this might be our life for one period of time, but it might extend for a long, because we never know what is awaiting for us. So observations from different sources and mediums, I did take upon, and we could compare how actually the space really influenced us, right? Some major observation when we take upon is that public spaces would need to accommodate sudden changes and trends or needs, and easy sanitation of surfaces and places. And touchless experience was something that everyone wanted. So we see in each and every public space should be designed in area that people don't fear on anything. Safer spaces would be preferred. They would prefer such spaces, and compromising experience, tangibility, ambience, mood, or business negativity. We see that at one point, yes, we will have a flow of people, but we see that the space is been constructed or it's been redesigned but as well as saying that we don't compromise on our ambience, because that is why we are here, right? The awareness had spread non-uniformly. Changes would follow the same suit and move on high exposure to low exposure areas. Spaces would have been more efficient to facilitate faster work. The mood of spaces have changed unpleasant. Efforts to change it back has to be made. Increased role of spatial design. Each space should be considered and they should be redesigned considering each spaces. The world has shifted online. Public spaces would have to accommodate more pickup, more online payment arenas, because this touch service would be avoided. So everyone now prefers the online payment. People preferred a safe arena. When it goes to public spaces, the workers and users both wanted a safe to be safer for them. And people visits have become more meticulous with lesser workspace employed. Spaces need to aid work. Planned immediate surrounding. The immediate surrounding became a crucial deciding factor for visit. The safety and security extends to the space. Crowded spaces created a feeling of panic and danger. Perception of personal and public hygiene changed. Spaces that compromise personal space in areas tend to be visited less. Similarly, the mood of the spaces have been changed negative. People spend less money and time everywhere. They started to adapt the online thing. But at the same time, we know this is not permanent. This would change. And slowly when everything starts, even now we see that everything starts opening up. New spaces have come up, new mood, new kind of tension around the spaces has been created. Right. So we have to see that we consider all these elements and make up make up a design friendly space considering this pandemic, right? Providing personal space within a wider looking spaces, maintaining personal space for all at that time. But at one point, it is not difficult to maintain personal space, but considering some areas, it could be done, and environment planning could be made. Mood of the spaces can be changed with extra effort, more effort on interior designing, color choices and patterns denoting health, happiness, freedom, and freshness. When we consider the online needs, pickup windows, space for online payment scans, virtual tour spaces would be required. And we see that use of economic materials and technology would become in action. Smaller, well-planned spaces would be necessary. Right. So we have understood how these spaces play an important role during this pandemic. With the chance of COVID like epidemic painting out a future and high scope of danger, the social responsibility of providing spaces and safe and comfortable arises. The aim will be to create safer spaces without compromising experiences, tangibility, ambience, mood, or business negativity. The awareness has spread non uniformly. Changes would follow the same suit and move from high exposure to low exposure areas. Security would also include safety and hygiene as an integral part of any construction. But as a gap between the virus and people still exists, we only move with time. Pressure is on the system to ensure public hygiene. System can enforce using architecture. Public spaces would and should act first as an enforce, then a reminder, and later merely as a facilitator of public and personal hygiene. We ensure that the panic and the mood of tension among people could be avoided, could be less reduced by redesigning the spaces through through our through our design or the construction that we make in future, because we know that yes, of course, the vaccine have come up, but still the danger among us or the fear in us is still in the air. So to avoid a new expectations could be done, we all would have a challenging role with a lot of new and contrasting expectation from these spaces. Architects, designers, planners will have a new but small challenging role, and but you will have a challenging role even in the smallest of smallest spaces. Right. We have come to the end of this talk. So I would like to thank the organizers of this conference for giving me this privilege to be a part of this program. For me, it has been a great honor and pleasure. I once again thank SRM and my department, School of Architecture and Interior Design, and all my teachers for giving me this opportunity. So I once again thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Meghana, for sharing your knowledge on interior design and writing styles. We will now move on to short sponsor break.
Ready? One.
Hi, myself Pandian Kalaimani. I am Cluster Specialty Concrete Manager for Tamil Nadu and Kerala Cluster for Ultratech Cement Limited Ready Mix Concrete Division. So I would like to greet Icon Best 2021 organizers and delegates for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Also, I would like to thank SRM School of Science and Technology, School of Architecture and Interior Design for providing this opportunity to display our innovative products in the concrete and cement industry. So I would like to share a few products which will be really useful to the end users like architects and consultants. So I just brief about my organization. So like Ultratech Cement Limited, Ultratech Ready Mix Concrete also is a number one player in India. We are into more than 36 cities and we are having more than 100 plants and producing more than 5 million cubic meter of ready mix concrete. So in all our ready mix concrete plant, we are maintaining world-class manufacturing standards and quality assurance and quality control standards with Quality Council of India certificates. So I would like to introduce a few products which are really innovative and will be very useful to the construction industry. So Ultratech Decor is one of such a product which can give aesthetic appearance in concrete itself. One can imagine how durable is concrete. You can get this kind of colors and patterns in Ultratech concrete. This kind of patterns you can get is the main benefit of Ultratech Decor, and it is very much durable compared to paver blocks and other conventional whatever material used for pavements, walkways, and external applications. Particularly, we can customize any kind of color and design and give you this end product, and no need of any maintenance, and it will come more than 20 years. It comes with more than 20 years of service life is the main advantage of it, and no need of any maintenance, periodic maintenance. So these are the varieties of colors and pattern that are available with Ultratech Decor. So we have customized this kind of design for Mumbai Municipal Corporation, and they really liked it, and they started implementing in all of their smart city projects. So recently we have completed several projects in Chennai as well. So customers are very happy with this new and innovative product. So bottom down you can see multicolor sandscape flooring also we have done with Ultratech concrete. It is highly durable. So we are recommending this for hard landscapes, pathways and driveways, parking bays and patios, footpaths, jogging and cycling tracks, walkways in gardens and entertainment parks. So main another advantage is it is monolithic. There won't be any weed growth. So once if you invest in this, you can be tension free, and you don't need to spend anything for maintenance, and it will give very good natural rock terrain look throughout its service life. And then I would like to introduce this polished concrete. It is trending nowadays. It is a kind of flooring where you can get this reflectivity, and it is skid resistant as well. So we can use it for office space, industries, and it is highly durable, and its service life is expected to be 10, 20, 30 years. So these are some of the pictures, and we can customize colors as well with the cream finish kind of colors. We can do exposed finish also. So this kind of aesthetically pleasing designs we can do. So, and then I would like to introduce this integral color concrete. So we can mix certain UV resistant color pigments in concrete itself, and we can bring concrete finish with this kind of varieties of color. So these are some of the samples. So what is the main advantage is the entire concrete is made with color, so there won't be any wear and tear related fading kind of issues. So in smart city projects, we are recommending this kind of products. And then I would like to introduce Ultratech Pervious. This is innovative concrete that should be specified in each and every structure because it is more sustainable. It can save rainwater. It is skid resistant and cars can go on it, and it will save all the rain that coming to the surface. So nowadays we are concreting every places and wasting all the rainwater to ocean and drainages. So we can try to save some of the rainwater by adopting this Ultratech pervious concrete. I'd like to show small video of Ultratech pervious concrete. So how it look like. So you can see it is aesthetically also it is pleasing, and it is more durable. In Chennai ECR, around 7 years back, we have done one project, and still it is intact. We have gone to customer and taken feedback, and they are very much happy about it. So even for saving trees, we can use pervious concrete around the trees so that the rainwater goes inside and save the tree. So and then I would like to introduce this lightweight concrete. So this concrete possesses self-weight of 50% of conventional concrete, that is around 800 to 1200 kilogram per cubic meter. This can be used for level correction process without increasing dead load of structure. And it can be also used as replacement to weathering cores, and it can give very good thermal insulation to the structure and save air conditioning cost and other costs. We have tested it in IIT Madras, and it is proven that it is 3 times effective than conventional brickbat coba and conventional weathering course methods like screed concrete. So typically lightweight concrete will look like this. And this is the innovation we have recently done, and we have been awarded by Times of India for this. This is structural lightweight concrete. Whatever I have shown a while before is non-structural lightweight concrete, and that cannot be used for structural purpose, whereas this concrete can be used for structural purpose. It possesses 25 to 30% lesser weight than conventional concrete. That that is, the density would be around 1,700 kilogram per cubic meter, and we can achieve a strength of around 25 to 40 MPa also. 40 MPa also. It can be used for composite structure, deck, casting, etc. So it is also used for building extension, unplanned extensions, where you can save much dead load. So, and then I would like to introduce Ultratech Free Flow Plus. This is not a normal self-compacting concrete. It came through a lot of tests. So it can fill any kind of architectural shape and give you excellent finish and shape without any honeycombing. And in some of the projects, they are trying to expose self-compacting concrete as it is without painting and plastering. So we are doing all these tests to ensure the self-compacting concrete is best in the industry. So these are some of the tests that we perform for self-compacting concrete. And for IIT Madras also, for a project, we have recently supplied M80 grade self-compacting concrete that was well appreciated by the user. And with self-compacting concrete, no need of any vibrator. You can reduce 50% of your manpower, because nowadays manpower being the big issue. So you can get excellent finish like this. You can leave it as it is, or you can directly go for painting. So that kind of finish you will get with Ultratech's Free Flow Plus self-compacting concrete. And then other recent innovation is this Ultratech Fire Safe Concrete. It can give fire resistance up to 2 to 4 hours, tested as per CBRE standard. So wherever there is electrical conduit, to encase electrical conduit, we use this mortar kind of product. So this will prevent fire spreading for about 2 to 4 hours. So we can save life with this Ultratech Fire Safe. So it is used in areas like this, wherever there is possibility of flame. So with this, I would like to thank you all for this opportunity.